Welcome to A Mess in the Kitchen, the podcast all about demystifying home cooking. I'm Molly Mogren-Cat, a food and travel writer who loves to cook, but is only so at it. My co-host, Dusty Kugler, is a former food stylist, caterer, and food fanatic that always makes cooking look effortless and somehow manages to clean up after herself in the process. We talk recipes, cooking, tips and techniques, our favorite kitchen gear, mishaps, and successes. We believe eating good food at home doesn't have to be so complicated, and if you screw up, who cares? That's why God invented frozen pizza. Here's the show. Hey, Dusty.
Hey, Molly.
Guess what time it is?
A mess in the kitchen time.
That is correct. So today we are talking about, I stumbled upon an article about like chef tips for home cooks last week, and I was like, oh, we should talk about this on the podcast. And then, of course, I couldn't find whatever one I actually read the first time around. But the thing is, there's lots of...
I like that Serious Eats one. That's a good one.
Yeah. There's lots of things online that have chef tips for home cooks. And so I found one on Serious Eats, which is a food website that I like, and I thought we could talk about it today.
Sounds good.
Because I feel like, I don't know, there's so many like stupid, easy tricks that you can learn from people who, I don't know, did things like go to culinary school or,
yes,
work their way up from the dishwashing station.
Yeah, the one that always comes to mind that's not on this particular list is the coconut. Do you remember that?
Oh, about
when Andrew showed us how to peel a coconut by putting it in the oven?
Yes, just explain it.
I don't really remember it except for I love raw coconut and they're such a bitch to open.
Yeah,
because
they're like
you
it's
cut
like
your
wood
hand open. It's kind of like shucking an oyster when you're like, I'm bleeding everywhere because it's woody and hairy and
plus,
weird.
They don't seem like they want to be open.
I know, they're like, leave me alone. But that stuff in there is so good.
It is so good.
So remember, he said you like use a knife to split it, like you kind of like a malady thing. I don't remember exactly. And put it in the oven. I'm going to have to Google this, but you put it in the oven, like once you have it open and you drain the milk out, put that in a glass.
Chug it.
I don't think you chug it. I think what I do is I put the like meat. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I know, but
it's in there.
Such a gross word.
I know, but it's so good. It's like my favorite thing, but it's such a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
But then you put in the oven on whatever for whenever. I don't remember that part of it, but then he took it out. It wasn't hot. And the shit just peeled off.
Yeah.
I was like, what have I been doing for the last 30 plus years? That is crazy.
Well, I haven't been doing anything because I'm like, no, thanks. I'm not going to do that. Though,
it is a pain.
Actually, this is weird that you brought that up because on our honeymoon, Josh and I went to Australia today, right? And we went to this. We went somewhere north of, I don't remember what it was, but basically somewhere where we could go scuba diving at the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
And on one of the days that we were there that we weren't, scuba diving, getting sunburned, we did a coconut tour with this guy named Coconut Carl.
Really?
Yes. And he showed us how to open a coconut, but I can't remember.
What?
I can't remember.
Were you drunk?
Probably.
It was your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Shoot, maybe Josh will remember. We should ask him.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to Google coconut. He's called
Carl?
him. Well, yes, but he said Coconut Kyle because he was Australian.
Coconut
Kyle.
Well, Google him.
I think
he has
some
tips and tricks for us.
I'm sure he does.
Anyway, we'll move on from the coconut.
Sorry, that was probably really a weird story to tell.
I just thought it was a good one.
Yes. So, I don't know. Let's just start right at the top and work our way down because
Perfect.
Some of these I was like, yes, I agree. And some I was like, really?
I have some versions also.
Yes.
I have some versions.
Okay. So it's called 24 Essential Kitchen Tricks and Tips from Serious Eats. We'll put the link to that. Mm-hmm. It's written by a guy who's like food writer, kitchen gadget guy.
I didn't even look.
Named. Oh, I looked it up just to make sure it wasn't written by like,
next door neighbor.
Me. Oh my God, I wrote this. J. Kenji Lopez Alt. That's a lot of words.
Yes.
But that's what happened. Okay. So speaking of Andrew Zimmern, the first one,
he taught me that.
Peel ginger with a spoon.
Yes, he did tell me. He taught me that.
Yes. So you get like the knobby, like arthritic ginger.
You cut your fingers off with the carrot peeler.
Yes, or like a paring knife, and it's and you feel like you're always cutting off too much. Yeah, well, and the good stuff is on the inside of that. It's kind of like the coconut. Yeah, but the spoon is way helpful. Yeah, it comes like right off. It's weird. So you just kind of use it like you're peeling a ribbon or something, or not peeling. Like curling a ribbon. That's what I mean. You get what I'm saying. Yeah, I get what you mean. So you just kind of get the skin right off, and it is pretty remarkable how quickly it comes off, too. Yes, and how much you don't waste. I know. I was like, huh. I know. All right, so do that one. Do that one for sure. That one's a good one. Number 2, my favorite. Get an immersion blender. I know. You always talk about it. I can't comment because it just seems like one more thing I don't need. So go for it. Okay, here's the thing I'll tell you about an immersion blender. Okay. Think about how much space a blender takes up in your kitchen. Yeah, but do you make like frozen fruit smoothies with your immersion blender? No, absolutely not. Right. But the thing is, okay, so when you're doing something like, okay, let's think about soup. Like the ice cream I messed up? No. Immersion blender, I use it for specific things. I don't use it for smoothies. I don't use it for like So you still have a blender? Oh, yeah. No, this is an additional item. Okay. An additional, not a substitution. No. Okay. So what I like to use the immersion blender for is say you're making salad dressing. Mm-hmm. So you're supposed to like whisk in the oil. So you do vinegar and a little bit of sweetness, something, and maybe some mustard. And then you're supposed to like whisk oil in there and have it all like, emulsify? Blended? Yeah. So it never looks right when I do it with like a fork or whatever. Yeah. But you could just put it into a container and use an immersion blender, and it's like, or you could put it in a container and shake it. Yeah, you could. But here's another thing I use an immersion blender for. Okay. Yes. Okay. What else? Imagine you're making, like, I know this is something you would eat, but just imagine like a butternut squash. I was just going to say sweet potato or squash soup. Yes, but any sort of soup that you might want to blend. Okay, so potato soup. Yes, regular potato soup. Okay, so it's boiling hot on your stove. So then what you take a Pyrex measuring makes sense. Glass thing, and then you put it into a blender. So you're kind of like wasting it and you're burning yourself. If you use an immersion blender, you just put it into the the pan, right? Into the pan and do it. Okay. Yep. And there's a lot of things too where I like it because you can blend stuff. So I have a Vitamix. Mm-hmm, me too. But sometimes whatever I'm blending is like too small an amount for it to really work well in a Vitamix. Oh. And then you can't get the stuff at the very bottom out very well. You can with that little thing you bought me. Oh, yeah, the tiny little scraper. Yeah, I love the little spatula. See, I wish I could take the bottom off of it. I know. Or just the blades. Yes. Wouldn't that be great? Yes. So, Vitamix, you should do that. You should be able to turn it. I know. But you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's nice to be able to do a smaller amount of something and get all the bits out. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Or this guy's like... So Molly says yes. Yeah, making mayonnaise. I would never... I mean, I have made mayonnaise, but... But why? No, it's... If you just... I don't want to know. Just buy it. Just buy it. It's like $3. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm all in for the homemade shit, but I feel like mayonnaise... Nobody cares. Yeah. Right? Okay. Then... Okay. How about keep a small strainer for citrus? No. Yeah. I use the press, and it keeps all the things in. So their idea here is that you cut like a lemon or lime in half, get a very fine like mesh. I know exactly what they mean. Yes, and you smash your... It doesn't make sense if you have, the lime. Press that you make your cocktails with. Yes, I like that too. Yeah, and it keeps all the rind and I guess you would maybe need one more step. You would need a measuring cup, but you're going to need that with the sieve and the mesh and all that too. Right? Yeah. So no. Plus, I'm a no on the small strainer. Me too. And I like it for other things. Sure. And if you have like just so much room in your house and in your drawers and you just want extra shit, get it. But for me, I don't think I need it. No. And also, don't you think that mesh strainers are just so annoying to clean? Oh. Every little bit gets stuck in those tiny things. Yeah. Yes. No, I'm not even going to buy that. No. like I said, I have one for like straining. If I make chicken stock or something, like if I want to get bits out of it. Bits. You know. Ugh.
Well, wouldn't you just use your immersion blender to blend it up?
No. No.
Okay, so we're at both thumbs down on the strainer.
And then it says use that same small strainer for eggs.
No,
but
my mom did teach me. I know what they're saying. So my mom taught my girls to make fried eggs because they love fried eggs, but it works for poached eggs also.
That's
you just
what this
put
guy's
it
saying.
in a bowl or a ramekin. You don't put, I mean, you can put it in that, but so that's how they would crack the egg in like a little kid bowl, those little plastic things. And then you just pour it into the pan and the yolk won't break. A lot of times when you're like, then the yolk breaks on its way out.
Okay.
If you do it into a bowl and you're like more careful with that, then you just slide that in. That's what they're saying with that too, which doesn't make sense to me because it goes through.
Can I read this? Can I just read what he wrote?
Yeah.
Okay. So use that. Okay. That same strainer can be used to make perfectly shaped poached eggs, which first of all, I've never made a poached egg at home.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah. How? ? Crack the eggs into the strainer over the sink and swirl them around gently to remove excess watery white. Okay. What's left will be a tight, egg-shaped egg. Okay. Weird writing. That poaches up clean. You can use the same trick to make picture-perfect billboard glamour shot ready fried eggs.
That's what we do with the bowl.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't really get it, but maybe I should try it.
Yeah. I'm not going to try it because I don't have a strainer. Why don't you tell me how that works out?
I don't have one. I don't have that size one. I have one that an egg would not.
Seems like a lot of work for an egg.
I agree. I just kind of crack it in the pan.
Yeah, I do now. But I get why little kids, with like, don't touch the pan. It's just a lot easier in a bowl and then goes right in there.
Okay, and next one. Think like a factory line and work clean. Now, this is you.
Duh. That's who doesn't do that? I think most people don't. But
yeah, so what does this mean to you?
Me? I do things efficiently.
Yeah.
I clean up as I go. If I have like multiple things to do, I do them in order and clean up in between.
Yeah.
But there's something on here, which is the next one. Am I skipping ahead too quickly?
Well, sort of. I would say like, okay, let's say if I'm making fajitas or something.
Okay.
The steps I would do is I would get a coloring board, a coloring book. No,
one of those.
A cutting board out, and I have peppers, onions, chicken. Let's just make it easy.
Okay.
So I would have all those ingredients out, and then I would cut the peppers first and put them in a little bowl or whatever.
Yep.
And then I would do whatever other if I say I had other ingredients that were vegetables, I would do those all before I did the onion because
it stinks.
Because onions stink. And then your cutting board, minimizes the washing, right? So the cutting board is oniony and your knife is oniony at the last step of the...
Besides the chicken, because that's dead last.
Right, because that's dead last because that can kill you.
Right.
So you do all of your veggies first and get them all prepped to go. Last veggie is always the stinky one, which is your onion, and then
or garlic.
Yes.
Yep.
And then you would do the chicken, and I wouldn't necessarily wash my knife between onion and chicken or the cutting board.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, because I don't care if my chicken tastes like onion, but I do care if other things.
Yes.
Tastes like onion.
Agreed. Yep.
Yes.
I think that's what they mean.
Yeah, I think
that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yes. And then next one is
smart, but I don't need to do that because where I do all my cooking is right above I have a garbage can in my island.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
So then I just...
It says use a garbage bowl and a bench scraper, which a bench scraper is like...
Like the thing that you use to pick up dough. Yeah. It's like or something like a big version of what they use on your table in
super fancy restaurants to get the crumbs off.
The crumb scraper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense if you're not working above your garbage can.
And then also,
sure.
well, sometimes or
if you're composting.
Yes, I was going to say, because we usually, we do have the city composting.
Yes.
So I'll use a garbage bowl for that. So just one big bowl that I put all my compostables into as I go.
Yes. Smart.
Yes.
Efficient.
Super efficient.
You're so
I don't
good.
use a bench scraper.
I use a lot of paper towels, which I know is not good.
I can't
help it.
Hand scraper.
Hand or sometimes a knife.
Yeah. The back of the knife, though. Never scrape anything with the blade of your knife.
Yeah, don't do that.
Well, okay, you can do it, but
I shouldn't do it, but
it makes your blade dull.
I know.
So you just flip it over and with the big, scary, sharp side facing up.
Is a perfect tip.
That is a good tip.
It's not even listed on this thing.
26, because we have a coconut tip that we just don't even actually know what the tip is.
Right.
But we know there's one there.
But we're fascinated by it. Exactly.
Okay, this one's good too, sort of. Freeze liquids in usable portions. Now,
I get it.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't think about it that much.
Me neither. But the reason, I think one of their things that they mentioned here was, say if you have wine left over, like a little bit.
Has that?
Well, sometimes I do. And then if you're like,
I don't, but yes.
If you're like, oh, I better either drink this or throw it away. Yeah. So if you don't want to drink it, you can just put it in an ice cube tray, freeze little wine ice cubes, which I'm like, do they freeze perfectly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
See, once they're frozen, you can kind of like put them in a bag or something, so you don't have just an ice cube tray full of wine. Or you could also I do pesto in that.
Yeah,
sometimes.
The pesto thing makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But the chicken stock didn't make sense to me because I was like, who makes 1 cup of chicken stock? Not me.
Yeah, like why would you have...
If we make stock, like after Thanksgiving, a lot of times we'll make turkey stock. And if we don't make like turkey noodles and, soup or all that kind of stuff or dumplings right after, I do freeze the whole like liquid. We drain it and freeze it in flat, like, freezer bags or whatever to use later. But I would never put those in smaller containers because I can't think of what I would use that for.
Like deglazing a pan or something. But
that's what your extra wine's for.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I don't either. I've just never done it. It doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for all those times you're needing like 2 tablespoons of chicken stock. I feel like that doesn't happen that often, actually.
For what? I can't. That's when I was reading this. I was like, what would that be for?
I don't know. But I get how you'd have a little bit of wine or a little bit of pesto.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
I agree.
Okay.
Too. Little pesto goes a long way.
This one cracks me up. Freeze as flat as possible. So if you're putting like soup or some sort of liquid in your in your freezer, you want to lay it down flat so it, isn't like a wad.
Are yours all wads?
Well, I learned this in a different context, which is with breast milk. Okay. So
you do those flat?
I didn't. And then, a couple things happened. So when I had Arlene, I was like a milk machine, a cow. So I was like pumping all this extra milk, and we had like the bags were kind of like almost like triangular, So I would just throw them in the freezer standing up, but then all of a sudden it was like they almost kind of became like snowballs or something in the freezer and like would tumble out, and I had to like stash them places. And then I actually ended up donating a bunch of my milk, and I had to give it to somebody like a giant bag, like a shopping bag from the Gap.
I didn't know you could donate your milk.
Yeah, you can. There's ways to do it like super legitimately, and then there's ways to do it on Facebook, which is what I did because I was just like, I don't know, I'm not going to use this, and if people are really desperate for it, sure, come take it. I know. It's kind of weird. I
don't think
breast
you can
milk
see my face right now.
No, you look shocked to a stranger.
How do you know it wasn't like a weird person and that was their fetish?
I didn't care. I mean, I don't care what do I care?
I guess it's just something you don't think about.
Please, I wish you hadn't brought it up.
Sorry. You see those freaky things.
I know, but whatever.
Okay, we'll move on.
Whatever. So, but then my friend Allison was like, oh, if you don't lay them down flat, they can get freezer burn. And then
who knows that?
Well, someone who's had 3 kids, not just one, but then also then you can organize them really nicely and you can just line them up.
Oh,
makes
sense.
Like the home edit. And then you arrange them in rainbows. Just kidding.
I was going to say, you do? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, defrosting meat on aluminum trays, don't care.
No. Water.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Me either.
Also, I didn't know number 10 was something all people didn't know.
I didn't either.
Okay, so it is
I've always
sliced
done that.
avocados in their skin. So instead of like peeling off the skin of an avocado.
Do you think that's really what they meant? Like, who peels it? Do people peel them?
I don't know. Well, I know that. So I know Josh's dad did this one. He used to do this. And then he saw me cut an avocado. So what you do is you run like a paring knife all the way around it. And then you twist it. And the pit comes out on one side. And then the avocado's perfectly halved. And then you can also, when you're holding the avocado half in your hand, you can like cut it diagonally and you can make like really pretty slices or use a big spoon to scoop the whole thing out at one time.
Yeah, and then they're like nice slices, or you can do like a cross and do little squares. You do have to be careful though
to not slice your finger or your hand, the palm of your hand.
It goes through that skin pretty easily, so you have to be really careful.
That happened not to me, but to a coworker of mine.
Ouch.
Yes,
that's painful. So watch that, but that's a goodie.
Yeah, that is a good one.
And if you guys have any explanation of another way to do it, I would just kind of like to know.
I don't,
because I can't think of another way to do it.
Me neither.
Okay.
11, we can just both agree and move on.
100%.
Buy pre-peeled garlic. And you can also buy pre-chopped garlic too.
Yep, or crushed or
whatever.
Diced.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah, that's just easier. But if you have a garden, I get it.
Yeah, well,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Read the recipe first.
Oh, I'm always screwing myself with this.
Me too.
This week.
I know this week on our cookbook, our recipe of the week, we both kind of got effed.
Big time.
We got effed by the barefoot Contessa.
I know. It was bad, but I should know better, but I don't. I take a picture or I look at the ingredients and then I go to the store and then I start making it and I read it.
I know. I do the same thing.
Read it first.
Even when I tell myself, read the whole thing, I still never do.
I know why.
Like, just read it, Molly. I'm not reading it.
I know.
By the way, let's take a quick break. And we're back.
Yep.
Okay.
What number are we on?
13 says use a scale for baking, which well, first of all, baking.
Not my jam, but I will say you really do need to do that.
You do.
And that's probably why I'm such a shitty baker, because I'm rushing.
Yeah.
I don't need to just measure it.
I know. And the thing I love about using a scale, which I try to do, though I'm always like, shit, it's out of batteries, you know?
It's like the meat thermometer.
Totally. Is that I'm a bad counter. So if I have to do like 4 cups of flour, I get to 3 and I think, was that 2? Or did I already do 4?
I do that all the time too.
I know.
I'm a terrible baker.
So then if you just know the weight, you just hit that number and go on with your life.
Some are grams.
I know.
Some are ounces. Some are kilos. I'm just like, stressful.
Hashtag buy it at the store.
Yes, just buy it. But I do think that that's a very good tip.
It is a good tip. If you're going to get serious about baking.
Yes. Any professional baker
will tell you. Mm-hmm.
Get that scale. Will. And they'll tell you which ones.
Yeah.
Maybe we should link to those. Not that I know them.
Yes.
We can ask somebody.
Anyway. The microplane is your friend. So do you use your microplane?
I do. I love it.
Okay. So a microplane, just if people don't know, is like a little mini grater kind of
like
thing.
A mini grater.
Not like a box grater. It's like a sword.
Yeah.
But a grater.
It has a nice flexible handle.
Yeah. And so it's great for, because I can't chop tiny little pieces of garlic or ginger or lemon zest.
Yes, the zesting is good, like nutmeg.
Yeah.
If you get the full nutmeg, like I do that in my bolognese, and that's good.
So
yeah, I mean, I didn't use it a ton.
Me neither,
I do use it for those.
It's a very good tool
cheese
to have. Oh,
real good for the cheese.
I know. I don't think about it for that.
Well, specifically on like the super hard Parmesans.
Yeah. Well, and the guy who wrote this said he hasn't owned a garlic press in years because he uses his microplane.
Oh, this guy's smart.
Super smart.
I love him.
Make your vinaigrettes in squeeze bottles. Now, I sometimes put them in there after I use my immersion blender.
Yes, the immersion blender. I don't. I use that thing that's like the Good Seasons thing. You know what I'm talking about with the line?
No?
It's total 70s, but it's like, you know, that Good Seasons Italian dressing,
yes.
or I should say Italian dressing packet.
Yes.
It used to come with this little carafe glass, and it has a plastic little top. And then it's got measurements on it. It's like O-V.
Oil, vinegar. I don't know. I don't have one.
Yeah, but anyway, well, I don't have the old one anymore. I have like one from Williams Sonoma, which is the same thing, and so you can put and it
like
just
3 times more expensive.
Yeah, but it has measurements on it, so you know where to fill, and then you just shake it up, and you can add things like mustard and different types of vinegar. And
do you have a few of them?
I have one.
Okay, because I think part of it is that it's just easy to store in your fridge or whatever in those, if you have a couple
in the plastic bottles,
in the plastic ones.
Yeah, I don't have more than one. I just use one.
Yeah, it's nice to just have it in there. And then of course, all of the real food professionals label shit with either painter's tape or masking tape, Sharpie, with what it is and the date.
That's smart if you're making a bunch of that kind of stuff.
And things get lost in your fridge.
I just do one at a time because I only have one container.
There you go. Oh my gosh, deli containers with matching lids.
Okay, well, I have to because it would drive me nuts if I had a bunch of different mismatched shit.
You know what I've taken to? My friend Virginia. Well, yes, I pretty much only have glass, like Pyrex.
Fancy.
You can buy it at Costco. Yeah, and you can put it right in the microwave, which I don't like putting plastic in the microwave.
Yes, me either. I already had cancer. Don't need it again.
I already have cancer.
No, thanks.
Okay. But my friend Virginia told me this, and I was like, I don't think that's going to work for me. But she stores her her Pyrex with the lids on and stacks things in her cabinets. And I started
empty.
Mm-hmm. And well, sometimes I'll like nest them, but I'll still do like a smaller one with the lid on it instead of a bigger one with the lid on it, and then they're always together.
Oh, I don't do that. I have one big, huge 1970s square Tupperware thing.
Is it orange?
Yes.
With the circle on the top that you have to press down?
Yep.
Okay.
So I have that that has all my lids in it.
Yeah.
In order of size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not that organized.
I could take a picture of it.
Please do.
But I do have some janky stuff in there just from like things. But for the most part, I like the nesting stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't stack them that way. I feel like it takes up too much room, but maybe it doesn't.
I don't know.
It's
fine. I'll take a picture of mine too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds perfect. Let's do that.
Okay. This is something I've never done, but I like the idea of it.
Like you should have last week.
What, with the
meatballs?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I was making meatballs at home, talking to Dusty on the phone, and I, like, got all the meatballs, like, rolled out and made, and then I was like, fuck, I forgot to put all of the seasoning and the onions and stuff in there. So
they're hamburger balls?
Yeah, they were, and I had to redo it because I was too distracted.
Sorry. That was my fault, actually. I called distraught.
Oh, my God. No, but they say make the mix, and then...
Really good
just
idea.
Cook off a little bit of the meat. Like either they say you could do it on the stovetop or you could do it in the microwave, which I would never do.
I would never microwave raw meat.
Ugh.
Ever.
No.
Ew.
But you could. And then if you taste it and you're like, ooh, wasn't delicious.
I just feel like it wouldn't be cooked enough to eat.
It'd be rubbery. Ugh. But you could do it on your
just
stovetop.
Put it on your stovetop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That is a good idea. It's nothing I've ever thought of doing before. So that's a great tip. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. but it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. This is one that I do.
Do
Partially
you?
freeze meat before cutting.
I do not do that.
So I did this when we made that bolognese when it had the, what's it called?
Pancetta?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I put it in the freezer for like 20 minutes before I cut it.
Oh.
So it makes it really firm and easy to cut.
Oh, I've never done that either, but it's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to be frozen solid, but...
Yeah, because then
you're like... you're like, got to get your samurai sword out.
Then it's like the coconut again. Ah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
We're almost done. 19, keep your knives sharp.
Yeah.
Totally true. When was the last time you sharpened your knives?
It's been a while.
Same.
It's been a while, but Prentice is pretty good about doing it. I need some new knives.
Maybe you just need them sharpened professionally.
Probably. Where do you take them?
Well, I bring mine to the kitchen window in Minneapolis.
Open?
Yes, still open.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's the only thing standing, basically, in Uptown.
Yeah. I know that different grocery stores will do it or butcher shops will do it too.
You got to be kind of careful, though, where you go.
Yeah, because they might use the thing.
Like your ice skates.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Sharpening blade. They're not using the steel.
I did get, it's like a German knife sharpener. No, I don't know why it's different than an Asian knife, but Josh got me one of these for Christmas one year, and you can it's like a little thing that you run your knife through a couple times. And it seems to work pretty well.
Like the steel, or it's like a little circles? I've seen the little circles before.
Okay, so it's like kind of shaped like a rainbow.
Okay.
And then there's 2 tracks that you can run the blade through. So you do the first one a couple times and the second one a couple times.
Oh.
I don't know, it like hones the knife or something.
Oh, sounds like a good deal.
Sounds like a kitchen gadget that I probably don't need, but I still use it sometimes.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm not great about sharpening them, but unless I have a hard time cutting something, then I'm like, oh, I got to sharpen all these things.
I know. If you can't cut a tomato.
Yeah.
You got to do that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. Definitely keep your knives sharp.
20, save your Parmesan rinds. Do you do that?
I do. I do. Well, I use the shaky cheese is what my kids have always called it, for popcorn only.
Yep.
And pizza sometimes. But I kind of became a snob about doing the microplane and the Parmesan. Yeah. So I have a couple of them in my fridge, and I have put them in sauces or soups. But it's not something I do all the time because it takes so long to get through a wedge of that really hard rindy.
So the thought is that you would put that, like, say you were making, I don't know, some soup that would benefit from some cheese. You just let it kind of like melts in there, the whole thing.
But it's not huge. So like imagine you're buying like a really good, it's probably, $10, $12. That piece is not very big, and you grind that shit to the very end until you can't anymore, and it's like so hard, almost waxy.
Yeah.
That's what you keep.
Oh, yeah. So in my mind, I'm like, are you supposed to eat that?
You can.
It's sort of like sometimes when you get like a sausage where you're like, am I supposed to
peel it?
What do I do? I don't know.
Like the stuff that you just take the little casing off.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're not really sure what to do with it.
It's really good in like tomato sauce.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll try that.
Yeah. It's like a little salty difference.
Okay.
I mean, I don't do it all the time.
Yes.
But yes. Like Italian wedding soup.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one. But I don't have a lot of them sitting around.
No, you would if you worked at an Italian restaurant.
Or at Byerly's. Or a cheese shop.
Yes,
you would. I'll take the rinds.
Yep. Okay.
So, anyway, try it.
The one of the last ones, use mozzarella or feta liquid as the base for pasta sauce.
I mean, good idea. Never thought about that for once.
I don't even. So like
like
the liquid it's sitting in, you add. Oh,
I don't know. Never thought of it.
I don't know. It makes it kind of feel pukey.
I don't know. The mozzarella water is weird.
Yeah,
but I get that.
Yeah,
it's briny, so I get it. I don't know about
maybe I'll try it.
liquid, but I think I probably cheat and just buy the crumbled stuff.
Oh, yeah, me too. I was like, the feta I buy doesn't have liquid.
What liquid?
It has preservatives.
We were talking about that at work today because we had a loaf of white bread, and I think we've had it. It was for like a specific recipe. I can't remember what it was, but it was like we were rolling up the white bread. The stuff that's like,
You have to like pick it up.
Yeah,
it
roof
gets
your
like,
mouth. I think we've had it there for a month. There's still no mold on it.
Wait,
like it's
is
super
it sitting
weird
on the counter?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Oh.
super weird. Like
Yeah.
those kinds of things that I loved when I was a kid. I'm always like, what was in that or still is?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it now. If you have your bread for like a week, it's getting blue, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Still white on the inside and crusty brown on the outside. And I'm like, I'm not eating that.
No.
It's just weird.
It is. It's gross.
Anyway, sorry I went off
Tangent, but it's
topic there
okay.
for a minute.
All right.
Weird.
Store greens and herbs with a damp paper towel. We've talked about this before.
Picking out the gross stuff. Yeah, and that
Mhm.
helps. And you can see. What he did mention that I thought was a really good tip was that if you have the herbs or the greens and you have this wet or damp paper towel, you can see it as the coloring comes up, and that's when you know that it's going bad. Like, I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
But that's a
when
really
it
good
turns
tip.
kind of green.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, whoops.
Yes, completely agree with that.
All right. 23 is don't be afraid of salt, but don't forget acid. That is true.
Mhm.
Salt your food, and then also just put a little bit of lemon on there, or I don't know.
Lime, vinegar,
Yes.
all that good stuff. Yeah.
Last tip. Use eggshells to remove eggshells. Like if you crack an egg and you get a little bit in your bowl.
Have you ever tried that?
It's the only way.
Yeah, I know. That's another trick from my mom,
Mhm.
but I can't get it out with your finger.
No,
Have you
it's-
tried?
Yes.
Or a spoon. It's like it's running from it,
Yes.
right? It's like,
Yes.
no, don't come near me. I'm like, how is it moving?
Yes.
How is it moving? But if you touch it with the eggshell, it's like,
Yep.
it's the
like a
weirdest
magnet.
thing. It is. It's so weird.
Oh my God.
Anyway, those are some good tips. I like that
I
guy.
agree. And if people have their
Yes.
like go-to secret tips, I want to hear them.
Yes.
And you can
Definitely.
email us. You can voicemail message us.
Yes. What's the number again?
It is 612-930-2899 or buzz.
I like how you like to say that. But there's lots of other things.
What? Oh, if people want to ask us questions or anything,
Yeah.
you can go to amessinthekitchen.com. You can find us on Instagram at A Mess in the Kitchen. Facebook is A Mess in the Kitchen Pod. And if you want to email us, it is amessinthekitchenpod@gmail.com.
Perfect.
And by the way, we do have a listener question this week.
Yes.
Which
is it?
is from V. Who no one knows who she is.
No, never heard of her.
Never heard of her. I want to get more comfortable with grilling, a.k.a. my husband always does it, but I feel like I should know how to grill. Help.
Okay, so I'm not great at this answer.
Mhm.
You're a better griller than I am. I'm intimidated by the grill because
See?
I'm not 100% sure how to keep the temperature correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tend to go burny, which is okay with me, but not with guests.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, I like the burnt stuff.
Okay, so what kind of grill are you talking about?
We have a gas grill. I
Same.
don't think I could ever do a charcoal grill because I would cry. Because I would never do it right. I would be like,
Okay.
I'm going to ruin it all.
I've done both. We pretty much only use our gas grill, though, just for convenience.
Right.
All right. Here is a tip.
I would love it because I don't have an answer for this
Okay.
person.
I would say start with, no pun intended, low stakes. So a low stake item would be vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheap.
Mm-hmm.
What if it
Give it a whirl, you mean?
Yes. So
Okay.
if you do you could do asparagus with olive oil and then
Mhm.
put those in the grill. Make sure to put them perpendicular to
Yes.
to the grates.
Yes.
Or like zucchini.
Or
Brush
peppers,
those
yeah.
with olive oil and salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is maybe like hot dogs or sausages that are maybe even pre-cooked. You know,
Yes.
so you're kind of just warming them up.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it's just getting over the mental hurdle.
Yeah. Oh,
You
I
know what I
totally
mean?
agree because it's intimidating to me also.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I would start.
Yeah.
I don't
think
know.
That's a really good advice
Yeah. Right.
because it is intimidating. It's just kind of like anything. Just
Yes.
ease into it.
And of course, I should mention too, if you're doing hot dogs or sausages, don't do them super hot because they will
Burn like a
burst.
motherfucker.
Yes, but they'll burst, and then you're like, or
Oh.
split. You know.
I kind of like that though.
I know, but you kind of, I mean, if it happens, you kind of want it to
Well, just turn it over.
And so I know I read a whole thing about it. It's like you can do 2-zone grilling if you have 2 different burners.
Oh, yeah.
So one that's like really low that you bring them up to temperature on, and then they don't burst, and then you move them to the other side of the grill where you have it really hot, and then you get like the lines on it.
Oh, yeah, to get like crispy or whatever. Yeah, I'm not a great person to ask on that too, because I do tend to like things, not steaks, but everything else I kind of like crispy. Like grilled chicken, I don't mind if it's crispy as long as it's not dry.
And I would also say that there's probably a lot of, this is going to sound so bad, but, like a lot of mediocrity in grilling. Like there's a lot of guys who like to grill. I feel like we think of it as a man thing.
Yeah.
That are just, they don't know what they're doing.
No, it's trial and error, I think.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're marinating something, you're safe.
I agree.
Because even if you do burn it, it's still juicy on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just my experience. I don't overthink it.
Yeah, and don't let the grill win. It's just, think of it like an oven that is outside.
Sort of.
I don't know.
Well, at least the oven, you can turn it to a temperature and it stays there. It's a little different. But you know what? I'm going to be quiet because I think people should just try it.
I do too.
Just try it.
Yep.
Okay.
Good
question, V.
Questions, you know where to find us because
I
just already said it. Okay, here's our last thing. Cookbook Club. This is our first recipe from Modern Comfort Food, Ina Garten's new cookbook.
Yes.
And Dusty did our first pick, and we made.
I know, it was bad. It's page, not that I can see, 191. So I'm not good at desserts or baking or anything, but I
that's
thought,
why I picked it.
Right, I thought this would be a good one. So once again, we both did not read the recipe before.
Now,
but to be fair, neither of us thought we needed an ice cream maker because it says that. Sort of.
Well, it doesn't say you need. I feel like this should say special equipment needed ice cream maker.
It didn't mention it until you had to use it.
Right, which was in the second to last sentence in the recipe.
Right, which is really not good for us who are weighing it.
Right. So. I just feel, and also the picture of it is in a loaf pan. It doesn't look like.
Right. It looks like you just pressed it in there and froze it. And it was perfect.
I agree.
Mine was not.
Okay. So here's the thing. When I was making this, I was mid recipe making when I realized that I was like, ice cream maker. I thought that's why we picked this.
I love that. One. I mean, I think we actually said
yes
on the last one, we don't need an ice cream maker. My fault.
Well,
but thank you for saving me because I didn't make it until after.
Oh you did.
So I was like, yes.
So
but you sent me.
I Googled how to make ice cream without an ice cream maker because that's what the internet's good for.
Thank God for the internet.
I know.
Seriously, like what would you do? Call a grandma?
I don't know. I don't have any.
Oh, I don't either. I have a mom, though.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't call yours.
My mom doesn't make ice cream.
I mean for making ice cream.
No. So anyway, I was
you
able
could call
to,
Denise, maybe. You could call your Aunt Denise.
Maybe. I bet she makes cookies.
Yeah. Oh, good ones, too. Anyway, back to the ice cream.
So what we ended up doing is, because you make a lot, there's like...
I kind of was surprised that it was harder than I thought. I thought it was going to be pretty easy from this picture.
Yes.
And it is a pretty picture.
So you basically, let me think. So you're like heating up heavy cream and then you're melting chocolate into it. And then
I think that's where I got in trouble. So you say your experience and I'll tell you if mine was different. And I didn't even take a bite of it. I threw it away.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
I lied. I did take a bite of it. But it wasn't good.
Okay. So you have to...
I didn't even get to the Oreos. I ate the Oreos by themselves.
Well, you had to heat up, let me see, like the cream and and melt the chocolate in there with... And then did you do the cocoa powder, vanilla extract, cognac, whole milk, all this stuff? You melt it in another pot and then you put eggs in it and you have to strain that with a tiny little mesh sieve that we talked about before, get like the egg bits out, and then you combine that and then.
There was a lot of steps, but I will say I'm not faulting her for this.
No.
This is one I should have read first. For sure.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, wait, I didn't do that. Wait, I didn't get that out. That was my problem.
So, I mean, I followed all the steps, and I had like a bowl, like a pan of hot, melted chocolate cream, all of the stuff I was supposed to have in it. And then I was like, okay, what do I do next? And then it's like, get your ice cream maker. And I'm like, God damn it. So what I ended up doing was I chilled the ice cream.
I was going to say, which method did you use?
Okay, I chilled it in the fridge.
Okay.
And then I poured it into a gallon Ziploc bag.
Okay, I didn't do that one, so I'm anxious to hear how that one turned out.
And then I got all of the air out, and I froze it flat, like we were talking about earlier, in the freezer. Took forever to freeze. So it took like 6 hours to freeze. And then I took...
Did you put it in hot?
No, I put it in like warmish refrigerator temperature.
Oh, okay.
And then once it was frozen, I put it in the Vitamix.
Okay.
Blended it up.
Okay.
Then took it out and put it into, I had like a big baking dish. It was like kind of all I could find. So I think you put it in the Vitamix to like get the air bubbles out and kind of make it really, or like ice crystals or whatever. Maybe. Just make it really smooth.
I didn't get that part.
Then I poured it into a baking dish.
Okay.
And then I used chopped up Oreos and mixed it in and then froze it, so Josh and I decided that we thought the ice cream was a little too sweet.
Oh.
And then also he was like, and your chunks of Oreo are too big, which I was like,
never.
I agree.
It could have a whole Oreo in there and be okay.
Yeah. So I guess I learned something new about him. He thought the Oreo chunks were too big.
So he doesn't get double, like when you go to Dairy Queen, he doesn't get double the candy in his Blizzards.
I don't know what
I do because it's not big enough.
I agree.
Snickers Blizzard, I want double Snickers.
Yes, you're like, oh, I got like 3 bites of the cookie, and then you're like,
it's like, it's just ice cream.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway,
if I'm gonna splurge, I'm gonna go all in.
Yeah, like this was delicious. I just thought it was a little too sweet, but of course my kids loved it.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, what happened to you?
I didn't really get the stuff out that I should have, and then I put it in like
the egg solids.
Yes, that wasn't a good thing.
No.
So you have to be really patient, and I'm not when it comes to this. I think I feel like I'm a pretty decent cook, and this intimidates me. And I thought like, I can totally conquer this. And then I was rushing and checking email and on the phone. Yeah. It's totally my fault, but it was like weird and curdly.
Yeah. That was from the egg, because you have to strain out the mixture you make with the eggs.
So that wasn't great. And then it just kind of went downhill from there. And so I poured it into a pan. Now that you said Vitamix, I had my Vitamix out, and then I was reading Molly luckily sent me a link of like how to make ice cream, what you found without a ice cream maker. I think I just skipped that and put it in this. So I have a pan exactly like this. And I was like, why is this liquidy like this? This is really weird. And then I put it in the freezer, and every 30 minutes I stirred it, and it never looked like anything but crap. I did lick it, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So then, again, I poured it into the garbage can, and I ate a whole sleeve of Oreos.
Well, I tried. I
need to focus. That's
it was a
my
fun
issue.
activity. I did this with my kids.
Oh, that's fun.
And I also did it in the morning, which was...
that's actually really smart.
Yeah.
I actually did it at like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Not smart.
Because I'm like, we can have it at dinner or whatever. I don't know. But it was...
I ate a sleeve of Oreos at 9:15. Probably not a good idea. But those were good.
But they are so good.
And I didn't even buy Oreos. I bought the Trader Joe's thin ones.
Yeah, those are so good.
I
don't know. I mean, it was fun, but
it was a lot of work.
Yeah, and again, definitely a lot of work and definitely way more expensive than buying like the good ice cream at the grocery store. So I'm like, well.
Fun for activity, though, especially if your kids liked it. That's
totally.
Fun. Mm-hmm. That is fun. So I picked a goodie, but I failed.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Guess
it's
what?
Not a big deal.
Just eat your Oreos.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Okay, now I want to tell you what I picked.
Okay, you've already picked it.
I have, because I'm curious about this. Okay, here's why I picked this recipe. It's called Emily's English Roasted Potatoes. This is where the barefoot Contessa name drops her famous friends. The adorable and talented Emily Blunt came to film an episode of Barefoot Contessa.
She did?
With me. Yep. So this is her family recipe.
I watch her show. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I didn't know she was on there because I like Emily Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
That weird movie when they couldn't say anything.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it was so frightening. You should watch it. It's really good. I don't like scary things, and I really like this movie.
Okay, I would like to see it.
Don't watch it with your children. It'll scare the shit out of them.
Yeah, my kids are in preschool.
Oh, yeah. Definitely don't watch it with them. They have to be in bed first. Okay, so this is Emily Blunt's potatoes. Yes. That means she makes them for her cute husband, Jim, from The Office. He's so cute.
He is. So the thing about this recipe, because I read it.
Oh, you read it first.
Well, I read it when I first got this book, and I was like, wow, I would never take this much care and time and effort making roasted potatoes. But now I'm like, I kind of want to.
What do you do? Boil them first?
Yeah, but then you have to like dry them and do a couple other things.
That's how Kelly makes her potato salad.
Ooh.
These are going to be good.
I know they're going to be good. I'm so excited.
Okay. What are you going to make this to go with?
I'll probably make them at our cabin. So maybe like some steak.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Or like a pork tenderloin.
Oh, that sounds good.
And a salad.
Okay.
That's on page 171.
I'm excited. These look good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm going to read it first.
But they do require an ice cream maker.
Shit! I didn't see that to the very last sentence.
I know, it was so bad. Oh, well.
Okay.
Well, all right. Cool. Well, I guess we'll see you next time, and I guess buy ice cream.
Buy the ice cream, unless you wanted to make it a full day family affair, which I didn't.
No.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to A Mess in the Kitchen podcast. We're very impressed that you made it all the way to the end. You can learn more about our show at amessinthekitchen.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. A Mess in the Kitchen is a production of Matriarch Digital Media. Executive producer, Twyla Dang. Produced and edited by the lovely, wonderful Beth K. Gibbs. Production assistant, Mia Register. You can find more great podcasts from Matriarch Digital Media at matriarchdm.com. And until next time, here's to good enough cooking. Cheers.